Let me out, YouTube! We are back with Why We Owe a Vulture on Steroids and an Apology. This is by Casual Geographic. If you're new to my channel, I adore Casual Geographic. Full playlist on my channel of everything I've reacted to. And yeah, I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Hi, hello, my name is Saphwyn. If you are new here, let me introduce myself. That was really bad, but I'm a silly neko vtuber. I love animals. I love animal content. I study biology, all that fun stuff. If you're new, there's your TLDR. And I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. As always, do remember that I do have a Patreon, so if you want my anime reactions, the full watch-along versions, full uncut, etc., go check out the anime Patreon. It is linked down below. I also have an anime channel, so if that sounds like a good time, go check it out as well. It is linked down below. And let's dive on into the video. Look at the size of that thing. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this thing. God damn.
Don't be scared. He's just a baby. He's
just a baby? Don't be scared, guys. He's just a baby.
He'll get bigger. Close your eyes and visualize the most disrespected animal on Earth. Now open them and apologize
for not thinking
of the living laundry lint. You don't respect this dinosaur nearly enough. Many people have never seen this flying fossil, or they have and never wish to ever again. The world would be a legitimate horror movie without them, yet this creature and its kind are still very much maligned by humanity. Well, you'll see why. The first two videos pretty much sums up our relationship with them. Especially when you let it play all the way.
Bro, I'm so shocked that this is a baby, but at the same time, I worked with a cassowary. So why am I this shocked? I don't know, because I'm fascinated by birds. I think big birds are so fascinating. That's probably why, actually.
Told you, just a baby. That is a baby Andean condor. And condors
the condors,
are Jurassic vultures on steroids. There's the Andean and the California condor.
They are.
And both are built like a prehistoric paralysis demon. They're the closest relative of Argentavis, and I live a life of decency and virtue, because otherwise I know I'd see this homicidal death pigeon in hell. Argentavis flexed a wingspan of up to 23 feet. Wait a
23 feet? 23? Bruh.
Much as an adult man, it would have been
at least, you know what? At least the cassowary couldn't fly, unlike this thing.
About the size of a Cessna 152. And on the ground, they would have looked that same grown man in the eye. The condors of today are slightly smaller, with
they're still massive.
Having a wingspan of nearly 11 feet, which is how the bird can stay in the air for hours without flapping their wings once. In fact, by using thermal drafts, one condor managed to soar for 5 hours and cover 100 miles. All that and no flap. The feather relic is also one of the longest living birds, with some surviving up to 70 trips around the sun. Not only does puberty turn an avian dust bunny into Skeksis from Dark Crystal, they end up becoming the biggest birds of prey on Earth. You can't imagine.
I'm just a baby. Please don't hurt me. I'm just a baby. I love them. I don't know about you, chat. I find birds so fascinating. Give me any type of bird content and I will eat it up.
Imagine waking up to a dragon and drag outside your window.
I cannot.
And that's because you're not from Chile. Not only is it the national bird of Chile, shout out to Chile, they even have a Chilean comic based on them called Condorito. Lucky for Chileans, this dog, and my mental health, condors are absolutely harmless. Unless you watch Total Drama, because that might have been the first time Alejandro got his rocked. But yeah, it's a good thing that a bird that can pass for a man in a suit is a scavenger.
Wait, look at his feet. Hold on. I thought he was a big bird to begin with. You see it, guys, look at those feet. Look at them.
To be fair, that is a man in a suit, but it's for a good reason. Dude, I was kidding about Jesus. Time really hasn't been kind to the condor. It might actually be the dinosaur left behind. Way back in the day, California condors made a meal out of megafauna like mammoths, bison, and giant ground sloths after they passed tense. It's believed that it was the presence of plus-size prey in the Pleistocene that allowed condors to get so big. The problem is, mammoths and giant sloths got discontinued a while ago.
I did get tricked by the fake feet. Still massive.
Meaning a literal big bird got left holding the bag. It's a biological anachronism. The condorito was built for a time that is long gone, and when many of the megafauna disappeared, the condor flirted with the oblivion too. Somehow they survived, but that would not be the closest condors would come to extinction. The sick joke is, DDT was really good at murking insects, but even better at erasing everything else, and condors caught the biggest stray.
That's sad.
Since the same pesticides would weaken eggshells and cause them to break. Condors only have one egg every 2 years, and the lit chicken that comes out can take up to 8 to mature, and this painfully slow reproductive rate only made the effects of DDT hit harder. But wait, there's more. As an aerial coffin, many condors die from lead poisoning caused by the bullets hunters leave in the dead. Peno Beowulf was a condor raised in the Los Angeles Zoo who was released to help contribute to the population. He never would, as he would die 3 months later with an air gun pellet in his gizzard and another statistic for lead poisoning. And
no way, bruh. I hate a year. Why are we like this?
Johnny Cash nearly soloed the entire species.
What?
Johnny Cash is known for many songs that I cannot name, but I do know him as the guy that got high, started a fire to stay warm, and caused a forest fire that not only burnt 500 acres of a national forest, it cooked 49 of the condors living there. When asked, did you start the fire? Cash said, no, my truck did, and it's dead, so you can't question it. Okay, Cash. When asked if he felt bad, Johnny said, well, I feel pretty good right now. Evidently, the forest wasn't the only thing that got blazed, and when
Bro, so we single-handedly took out the California condors, is what I'm hearing. Not single-handedly, in multiple events that were due to our nature took them out, is what I should say.
Him of his hate crime towards condors, Cash asked, why should he care? After the federal government took $125,000 worth of care out of his account, he got his answer. Also, I lied. I can name one song, Ring of Fire. No currency could bring the condors back, though, and years of getting jumped by DDT, lead poisonings, and human hubris, and the California condor population down all the way to 27 left in the world by 1987. The bird from a land before time was about to flatline. That is until folks finally decided to step up. For all the damage done to the condor, humanity came in clutch for the cause.
Let's go!
They went all out, first by capturing all the wild condors left, and when they were done, every condor alive was in captivity. Then they really put in work. Condor eggs have a longer release time than a Spider-Verse movie, but a biohack is that condors will often lay a second, even third egg if the first one is removed. So the strat was to collect condor eggs for caretakers to raise themselves, basically doubling.
So what I'm hearing is we were bamboozling the condors to ensure that we would have a population of condors.
The output. This would save the condor population at the last absolute second, as condors would begin to be airdropped back into the wild in the 90s. And today, there's over 500 California condors, both in captivity and seasoned across the Southwest. There is one problem with raising condors, and it's that the condors can become attached to humans. And like we always say on this channel, the worst thing a wild animal can do is lose its fear of people. The condor compromise was raising these floof nuggets with hand puppets.
This is actually a common trait among many birds that humans raise. A lot of birds will come attached to the humans and think the humans is their primary caregiver or leader, whatever they assume the human is. And you see this across multiple species of birds when they are being raised in human captivity.
Their parents' likeness. This allowed keepers to teach baby condors how to condor while also retaining their natural fear of humans, which I thought was what was happening here, but I looked into it and this has nothing to do with conservation. This is just love of the game.
I love of the game.
Closer, that's also a condor in a man's suit. Convincing, right? But raising condors is more than just
How do I get that job? How can I dress up as a condor every day, chat? I need a new job in my life. I'm retiring as a cat girl on the internet. Find me dressing up as a condor. You'll see me there.
Throwing meat at a panhandling puffball. There's a method. In the late 80s and early 90s, folks started raising kid condors in this like daycare system, but with no older birds. But because they had no older birds to use as role models, when the condors were released, they basically acted like teenagers with their parents gone for the weekend. They do things like approach people, invade campsites, and even enter buildings.
Oh my gosh.
Things you don't want an endangered species doing, so we had to adjust. Instead, folks shifted tactics based on how wild condors come up and would have a baby sitting by itself most of the time, only occasionally being visited by an adult, aka a puppet. Later on, they'd be assigned an older mentor condor to show them the ropes, and in the final step, both would be moved to a flight pen for the fledgling to learn how to fly. And caretakers would teach stranger danger by using the business end of a water gun on any condor that got too friendly with humans to keep them appropriately people PTSD.
Bro, they're water gunning the condors when they get too close to humans. It's like a cat with a bad attitude problem, except it's this massive bird of prey.
They'd also use like shock therapy to teach condors to avoid frying themselves on power lines. But
I love
the job's
that.
not finished once you have condors in the wild. I won't call them the pandas of birds because, well, one, pandas don't deserve that self-plug, but two, condors have an even harder time making more of themselves. 25% of California condor eggs are infertile duds that have to be replaced before the couple gives up. Side note, I just remembered condors can pull a Virgin Mary where a female can lay and hatch a fully functional egg with zero male involvement.
Wait, what?
Like maternal menaces. That's parthenogenesis, and I feel like having that move in your bag and almost never using it, even with your population halfway in past tense, like I get that it's mostly our fault, but like help us help you anyway.
That's crazy.
There's no guarantee once the egg hatches anyway, because many chicks get accidentally poisoned by micro trash, which clogs their system and starves them.
Stop! I didn't know that this video was going to be so sad. The chicks are dying out here to microplastics, micropoisoning, bruh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So researchers gotta constantly sift through the nest for microtrash, and any chick suspected to be contaminated is kidnapped and medevaced for surgery. Which also means someone has to camp by the nest for 24 hours and keep the parents from coming home to an empty one and abandoning it. Gatekeeping a dragon from its child for a day sounds more like a Mr. Beast challenge than a way to spend your zoology
Look
degree.
at him.
If a released condor can avoid lead poisoning, pollution, and getting deep fried on power lines, it'll roam the skies for decades and hopefully make many more condors along the way.
I
If
would
they're
love to
lucky,
see
they'll have
one.
the same partner by their side the whole time.
Aw,
Condors
nice.
do not get enough credit for how loyal they are. The symbol of unity can have a 5% divorce rate, and a penguin can propose with his best pebble and still get cheated on. But for the most part, a condor will see another condor and just spend the next 40 years making it work. Unless death really does them part. But condors aren't just loyal to their mate. Believe it or not, an overgrown struggle vulture has a social structure on par with chimpanzees and
Oh,
wolves.
nice.
Condors have
Cool.
a social hierarchy where every bird knows its rank, especially at the dinner table, where elders dominate, which is
Yep.
why those raised without other condors end up with avian Alzheimer's, as in
Oh.
they forget their place. But it's not just a hierarchy. Condors will have a friend group that they'll hang with, and if you're around long enough, you'll see them preening, play fighting, and even chasing each other. They'll even look after other injured condors and share food with those that can't do so for themselves. What kind
I love learning about the hierarchy structures of different creatures and like animals. I absolutely love it because it's so cool if you actually go deep diving in any of these.
bird of prey you know that's moving like that? The social butterfly nature is why we had to put on the hand puppets in the first place. When I said condors can get attached to humans, we're talking about a commitment lasting years. Eduardo is an Argentinian cattle farmer who found an injured condor on his property and helped bring the bird back to health. Now, every once in a while, the condor visits a man that saved him as a thank you and even tries to preen him. But to me, the wildest part is the condor didn't imprint on Ed because it eventually went back into the wild instead of following him around, so this venti vulture is actively going out of its way to see him. Who would
went back
expect
to
that
the
kind of
wild?
emotional depth from a cloud casket? Well, anyone who's worked with them, because they'll tell you that vultures are sky puppies with personalities that'll even have favorite keepers that they'll run to when excited. They're also curious and will play with anything from actual toys to the socks and shoelaces.
This is the same if you guys ever work with, I don't know, parrot species, cockatoos, etc. like that. Like, I remember working with a cockatoo and he only liked like 2 people. Anyone else, it was like no go. Like, good luck dealing with them. And I think it's funny that they just associate like certain trainers or they learn to like or they get attached to like one person or whatever. Even when you like try to prevent this, but like in their mind, whatever's going on in their mind, they're like, nah, like this is my one person. And it's just so funny working with creatures like this.
Their preferred human. Many keepers swear by vultures being the most fun bird to train because their curiosity and attachment makes them act like precocious children always looking for their parents' approval.
I can see that,
They're even on the short
yeah.
list of animals smart enough to use tools, with Egyptian vultures using rocks to crack open ostrich eggs. You wouldn't expect that from a
Smart.
career scavenger and death merchant. Vultures have been underrated, and fun fact, there's old world and new world vultures.
Oh.
They're not related. Vultures are essential workers. They're just so important that nature went ahead and made them twice. But this is not a vulture glaze video, so before we talk about the good,
Chilling
we
with
gotta
the
speed run the side
capybaras.
you probably already know. Everything I've said about vultures is still true, but it's also true that they have the nastiest diet of any animal. They'll eat the foulest, most putrid piece
Correct.
of meat like a kid eats candy, and having a weak beak and feet means they'll break into
Correct.
a body from the worst half. Which is why vultures are bald. No point in having feathers when you're gonna be neck deep in a dead buffalo. Being bald also helps with temperature. So does another thing they do. Vultures practice urohydrosis, where they'll leak liquid nasty all over their legs to cool off like sweat. So if you see a vulture with ashy feet, now you know. Also, some vultures will
Interesting.
weaponize their diet, as turkey vultures will projectile vomit sewer-smelling foulness I can't even.
Sometimes I just question them. I question things in the wild sometimes. I love nature, but at the same time, what in the heck, man?
Imagine. Or maybe I just don't want
Interesting.
to. Especially if they spray you in the eyes, and if it hits feathers, the acid nerfs the ability to fly. That's not the most offensive thing vultures do. Contrary to popular belief, black vultures will camp out in flock around sheep giving birth and immediately swarm the newborn,
Stop.
gouging the eyes out and eating the blind lamb alive. That's not even mentioning what vultures do to the economy. You do know vulture vomit and dookie juice can cause power outages when they pile up on transmission towers, and that vulture curiosity can send your car insurance into the
Oh
stratosphere.
my gosh.
As necro
Imagine coming out, your cars are just destroyed by vultures. Like, you're calling your insurance after this and be like, yeah, so the group of vultures got to my car again.
Tweeties are liable to scratch paint, rip rubber
Crazy.
seals and wipers off cars, and even tear the vinyl seat covers from boats and tractors. That's not as bad as the possibility of them contaminating water sources with their acidic feces when the coliform bacteria from it invades water towers or reservoirs.
Yeah, but that's just not like vultures. That is vultures in per se if you have like big group of vultures, but that's a lot of animals that can contaminate the waterways due to their feces, depending on what and who and where.
To mention, being the highest flying bird can backfire when they join the Mile High Club after getting rear-ended by a plane engine.
Oh,
which
Jesus.
makes vultures, in terms of damage, one of the costliest animals in America, estimated to cause about $3 million and $1.2 million in damages to military and civil aircrafts,
That's
respectively.
crazy.
When you add the death they leave in infrastructure and livestock, vultures are capable of burning a multi-million-dollar hole in the economy. But the real damage is to the economy of your social life. Let a guest see, smell, or otherwise perceive a committee of vultures on your property, and that might just be the last time they ever come over. But most people would probably forgive all of that if they weren't so ugly. So it's
What
not
do you
hard to see how people see
guys, put one in the chat if you think the vulture is ugly. I think he's not really ugly per se. I think he's very unique looking. IMO, my opinion, but apparently I find a lot of weird looking things cool, so I don't know.
vulture and see nothing but a nuisance. Well, vultures have no business being as OP as they are. Many animals have powerful digestive juices to eat carcasses, but no animal can match a Hades chicken's internal fortitude. Vulture's stomach acid has a pH lower than 1, meaning they can destroy toxins like anthrax and cholera that would one-shot almost anything else. Botulism is considered the most potent natural substance on Earth, as the toxins produced by bacteria attacks the body's nerves, causing muscle paralysis, difficulty breathing, and even death. Let alone the fact some people pay to put that in their face. The vulture's nervous system is resistant to that same bacteria and can also tank the same bacteria that can cause tetanus and gangrene with zero effects. Not to mention, when they're knee-deep in death and decay, leaking liquid on their legs not only cools them, it acts as an antiseptic that kills bacteria on contact. Vultures are what that 0.1% of germs are.
You guys may be like, ooh, this is freaking disgusting, but that's kind of cool to think that that is what they are capable of doing.
Are afraid of, and pathogens like tuberculosis, salmonella, leprosy, and even rabies meet their end in a vulture's gizzard. Which is a big deal because if you watch this video, another plug, but you know rabies is the disease that scares me the most. The idea of a disease rewiring your brain chemistry for the worse while also making you afraid of water, something that is non-negotiable if you want to live, haunts me. Rabies buries an estimated 70,000 people a year, and with the most common cause of cases being dog bites, it's most destructive in areas with a large
Yeah, see, a lot of people, I don't know if you heard that. He said the most destructive case being dog bites. The thing is, a lot of people associate bats with like big rabies carriers. Don't get me wrong, they can carry rabies, but you know, other animals can carry rabies as well too. Number one carrier is your dogs, like he's saying right now. Mind you, other small species, especially like raccoons and foxes and stuff, be wary of them. They are also rabies carriers. All I'm trying to say right now is it's just not bats. A lot of people just automatically assume bats, but it's not bats. Dogs are number one in the world for rabies carrying and infecting. Mind you, if you are from like, I don't know, I'm from Canada. So in Canada, it's kind of mandatory for rabies shots for like dogs. So if you live in a country like that, you know, it's mandatory, but you still have street dogs, etc. And like I said, a lot of your smaller animals that people go up to go pet, which I don't understand why they want to go pet a wild raccoon or a wild fox. I don't understand that. But if you are going to go pet a wild animal of that sort, be wary. It could look okay, but it could also have rabies, be in the early stages of rabies, whatever it may be. So keep that in mind.
Stray population, like India. But there's two things India did that gave rabies the green light. First was them criminalizing euthanizing stray dogs, but the main reason was a complete accident. Diclofenac was a drug used as a painkiller and anti-inflammatory for cattle, but that same drug also caused fatal kidney failure in the vultures that ate them. This did an absolute number on the vulture population, with many species cut down by 99%. Not only was it one of the fastest collapses of a bird species, the consequences of the sudden disappearance of nature's cleanup crew was predictable, as the number of rabies cases skyrocketed. And you remember what I said about vultures in the economy? Well, the free fall of the vulture population likely led to the deaths of 500,000 people and an economic loss of $70 billion. Ooh, that's a comma. $70 billion. From 2000 to 2005. I don't think it's just India that benefited from a scavenger stimulus package.
Holy moly.
Anthrax outbreaks are a semi-common occurrence in places like Kruger National Park in South Africa and Virunga National Park in the Congo, especially in places where you can have pool parties that contain more hippo than pool, and these outbreaks can kill up to 100 hippos at a time. Not only that, but these outbreaks can reach humans, as in 2011, over 500 cases of anthrax poisonings in humans were reported after 80-something hippos died of the same. Now imagine the carnage if you didn't have bald-headed equalizers clearing the disease for the free.
I'm the trash man as he's raising up his foot.
Like I said, there's a reason nature thought vultures were so nice they made them twice. Vultures also contribute to society in less dramatic ways, as in the 1930s, the Union Oil Company of Texas started putting mercaptan in natural gas, and with turkey vultures often gathering around the smell, they'd use the birds as markers to locate gas leaks. Vultures also act as an alarm bell for illegal poaching activity, as them circling over an area is like a Batman signal to park rangers. Unfortunately, that has also made them a target for poachers, who purposely try to poison them. Evidently, the only toxin vultures have no answer for is humanity. Like I said, you do not respect vultures nearly enough.
Wait, where are the good guys?
I said about them being ugly. The griffin vulture mocks any eagle you can think of. The bearded vulture is like a Pokemon fire type come to life.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing! Does that not look like a real fire freaking Pokemon?
King Vulture is just an ethereal specimen of a bird. That is if you can ignore the chesticle situation. And oh, my sweet baby boy. If there are no condors alive, just know that I have died. And that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water.
That was a good video.
Put
I
some
like that.
respect on the Vulture's game.
Yeah, put
Shout
some
out to this
respect on
comment for
them.
making me make this video. Acknowledge your father, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.
Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Perfect. Demon? Alrighty. And you know what I mean? That is the end of the video. And you know what that means? Comment down the bird emoji if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Also, please do comment down if you think they're pretty or fugly or whatever you may want to say. Please let me know if you like the look of the vulture or not. But I hope you guys are the Conrad, sorry, I can't speak. But I hope you guys all had a fantastic day. Remember, as always, check out the Patreon. Go check out the brand new anime channel. It's not brand new, but I'm now utilizing it, if that makes sense. So go check it out. It is all linked down below. And I will catch you guys all on the flip side. Goodbye, goodbye.